Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my latest video. So if you haven't signed up for Sorare's football, soccer, NBA, or MLB games, they're really fun. And if you use my referral code, you can get a free card. We will both get one when you sign up. And beyond your free cards, when you join the competitions, there's tons of people worldwide doing these. And the cards can be worth quite a bit of money. Plus, it's sort of fantasy football, soccer, NBA, MLB. They might be bringing other sports on there, so it's fun. Also, check out DraftKings Rainmakers for NFL and UFC. They have currently for a similar product with better cash out. But I've been getting into Sorare again lately, and just did some research. Now, goalkeepers, as those of you who play Sorare know, are the most expensive cards and hard to come by because there's not that many starting goalkeepers in the leagues that are covered by Sorare. So they can go for a lot. Then you have the U23 under 23 special leagues, and there's even less of those because not many teams start goalies under 20 that young around the world. Not many teams rotate goalies that much, and things like that. So I went ahead and put together sort of a cursory list of 20 goalies that qualify U23 currently that have Sorare limited cards that are under $30 all the way down or less currently, which can be considered bargains and Sorare. Now, of course, these are all speculative. I don't know all these players in and out. Some of you may know particular situations with teams and leagues better than I do, or the player themselves. So take it with a grain of salt, but just might give you some ideas. I'm going to start with the most expensive down to the cheapest one. This is not in order of my preferences. And the thing with it is, when a player is under 23, so it shows on SorareData how long they're qualified for. So this guy's got basically 4 years, 3.5 full seasons, because sometimes it depends on where their birth date is. And the point is to some degree these are speculative that they might become a top goalkeeper in the future or get a full-time role, but also the optimal case would be somebody who starts starting games in a qualified Sorare league quickly. And of course another thing is injuries. Goalies don't tend to get injured as much as outfield players, but sometimes when they do, it's pretty serious. There's no COVID right now, which was knocking a lot of goalies out. And not many teams rotate goalies. They probably should a little more often, in my opinion. But the Turkish league, I noticed, does seem to do that a little more than others. So the first one here is, I think it's Seni Lamens. I apologize for mispronouncing the names. Goes for 27. Belgium on Club Bruges in the Jupiler Pro League. I'm not going to show all the price history. I actually don't have the premium access set up right now on Sorare to see the price history. But you can see just over the past month, 40 down to 27. Going on to the Sorare scores. He does have one score in the past year where he did start for Bruges against Anderlecht. Okay, then onto the TransferMarkt page. I'm going to show the Sorare data on the TransferMarkt page of each of these players. One of the primary way I came across these guys was going through some of the market value goalies. So there may be good ones who are not don't have a high market value on TransferMarkt. Some good young players, youth players that you can find, and some of these may have overpriced market values for whatever reason. Lamens, he's been in the Bruges system. Basically, they're one of the better teams in the Jupiler Pro League, the Belgian league. This says Leeds was interested in him with a possible rumor, but who knows? He's been moving up the ranks in the Belgium U21 all the way up to U21. Of course, Belgium has produced some fantastic keepers in the past. I think 1.93, I think, is about 6 feet 3 inches tall. And again, he's only 20. He will be turning 21 soon. I'm not going to go through all the performance. You can see here, he's been doing time, or he's had some games in the lower league. Those numbers aren't super duper standout, but take it for what it's worth. $27 currently. Of course, you probably want to look at these in Ethereum because Ethereum fluctuates so much, but sometimes it's easier for the brain to understand when it's in euros or dollars. But if you look at the you can sometimes see differences with the it won't matter as much in the short term, but in the longer term with the Ethereum value, because Ethereum was so jacked up, although it looks to have stabilized. Okay, next one. Jan Olszewski on Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga, 26. He's 21 years old. He'll be U23 until summer 2026. Over the past month, 50 up to 80, back down to 25. There was some jacking up of the big four leagues ahead of the new contest they started, the 270s, which I bought cards for every league for. So those prices did get jacked up and came back down a little bit, but that was more in this time period. He started 2 games recently in November. Gave up 2 goals both times, but one of them was against Dortmund. The situation with them is they sold their goalie to Bayern to become the starter because Bayern had an injury. So he's basically the second goalkeeper there now, behind Jonas Omlin, who's playing well. But I'm sorry, and they also have Tobias Sippel, who's a veteran. But he has been on the bench, and they did start him right before this. Just something to watch. They started him. I mean, I believe he's been on the bench every game. He was also playing in one of the lower divisions. You know, in these lower divisions, it varies. You know, you don't want to see a lot of goals allowed for the number of games, especially on the lower levels, and clean sheets there. I just want to look real quick if he's been. I believe he's been on the bench. Yeah, he has. But you have to see. The other goalkeeper may have been as well. So again, these particulars, Tobias Sippel, who's also very cheap, but he's 34 years old. Next one down. Alessandro Plazzari, $25 basically on Pescara Serie C in Italy. That's not a qualified league. It's Serie B and above. Okay, he has only had one sale recently for 24. I can't go back further than that. If you go back here, he played for Lecce last season. They started him 3 times. He's 22 years old, so he's got till next summer of 2024 to go off of the U23. Okay, so this guy, he's been going up the ranks in Italy, and Italy produces a lot of goalies. Of course, he joined that in 2019, but he's been moving up and played for all of those. So what's gone on with him is he was primarily in the AC Milan system, it looks like. They loaned him to Lecce, and Lecce ended up starting him last year. I think, did Lecce... Let me just see real quick. Yeah, they stayed up. But this past summer, Milan sold him to Pescara for $200,000. So they had the market value as 800. Oh, I'm sorry. Another thing you can see on the front page of this TransferMarkt is where the estimates of their market value. So Serie C is, from what I gather, there's Serie C B, Serie C A, and then B. So he's pretty far away from this team, with this team getting to Serie B. But the possible speculation on this one, I assume, would be that a bigger team may come in and buy him and give him a starting spot. Because I think the reason he moved there was to start, not due to a lack of talent or failure. You can see he's been starting all the games down there for a lower level team. I think they're in like 5th place. So this one would be like a speculation that because they're pretty far away from getting promoted to B. It would take several seasons, as far as I could tell. So I think this one would be that are they gonna basically flip him for a profit, or who knows, if maybe there was a sharing deal with AC Milan, profit sharing, and he may get into Serie B or some other league and get a chance to play again. Because obviously he looks to be a promising player, and he played in Serie A already. I'm not going to go through all the performance data, but next one's $24. Simon Ngapandutumbu. That's hard to pronounce. I apologize. He's on Olympique Marseille. He's only 19. That's why this one's pretty expensive, because he goes until 2027 as well as a U23. Just in the past month, his price was up to 50 and back down to 25 now. He hasn't played. He's extremely young. He's been in the Marseille youth system. Marseille produces a lot of good players, as far as I know. Played a little bit in a lower division. And looks like Cameroon just added him to their national team, probably to, poach him from France. So just, they offered him that and he accepted it. I believe that's what that means, even though he hasn't played for them yet. So that's one I'm not familiar with him, but he's obviously a good prospect, even if the fact they're pricing him at 25 on there, but also because he's so young. Next one, Fabian de Keizer on Utrecht in the Eredivisie. He's 22. He'll be there till next summer, mid-2024. He's $24 currently. Over the past month, range between $20 and $30. He does have one game on Sorare in the last, or no, he had multiple on the going back last season. He played quite a bit for Utrecht. Now Utrecht, I have the tables on another page, but I have a different. Let me see if I can. Well, they're in 7th place currently. They're actually somewhat in contention for the playoff spots to get in a European berth of some sort. 800,000 worth. Again, very tall, 1.93 or tall. He made his way up the Netherlands youth ranks. Netherlands has produced some excellent goalies as well. He's been in the Utrecht system the whole time. They haven't let him go. Played some at the lower division. So he started, let's see. I don't want to go in the weeds too much on the depth chart of these teams, except for a few that I was looking at myself. He's been on the bench this year, but if you look at last season, for whatever reason, he did start games. He started a big stretch of games in the Eredivisie, but not currently playing, not currently starting. 24. Next one is Lucas Gudelbauer on Wolfsberger in the Austrian Bundesliga, not Wolfsburg. He's $23 currently. He's ranged between 10 and 25, 30 in the past month. He's going to be on U23 until June 2025. Hasn't played on Sorare in the last year. 400,000 market cap. All of these are, I think, maybe bar one or two are 400,000 market cap or above, according to TransferMarkt, because that was the kind of like the primary or the secondary source I was using to look up find names. He was on the Reed U system and went to Wolfsberger. I believe there are similar level teams in the Austrian Bundesliga. Been called up to the Austrian 21 team, hasn't played for them. Been on the bench all season. Played in their cup games. So again, you have to do your further research on some of these players. Next one, Arnau Tenas, or I apologize if I'm mispronouncing these. $20 on Barcelona. He's 21 years old until mid-2025. His cards, just in the past month, again, a lot of these were probably a lot more expensive, but some of them were sometime between about 15 and 30-ish. Hasn't played over that time period. Obviously, with Barca, major factor, and their goalkeeper situation. So according to this, Ter Stegen is their starter, and then Peña and Tenas are their backups. And Peña is actually reasonable on Sorare as well. And when a player's on Barca, that gives them these high market values. It tends to $2 million, which is one of the reasons he popped up on the screen. Let me get back to him here. He's been playing in a lower division for them, letting in less than one goal a game with clean sheets. Of course, it is Barca and the level of competition. And you can see he's been in the Barca system on Barca B. He's been called up on Spain. This might be a national team call-up. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely on the U21s. So a promising Spanish goalie, obviously, in the Barca system. And, you know, sometimes these players from the really prestigious programs, sometimes teams will give them a chance to start if they don't make it at the big team, primarily because of their potential and the training they've had and the stamp of approval, so to speak, that they came up through a big club like that. But I don't know his particular situation that well. Deont Ramage, $19 on Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. His cards over the past month, about $15 to $25. He started recently for Eintracht in the Bundesliga against Freiburg and let in 1 goal, and Freiburg's in a top, like 7 club right now. But that's his only start. Oh, and I'm sorry, he'll be there until June 2026 in the U23. Been in the Germany youth system national team, but hasn't been called up, looks like, to the U21. Was called up on the earlier ones. Market value been going up. So he came up with Stuttgart Kickers, went to Heidenheim, and then Frankfurt bought him from Heidenheim a couple years ago. Again, playing in the lower division. You have to look at the situation with Frankfurt's goalkeepers, see where he falls on the depth chart, so to speak, and opportunities, and who may be. Next one, Karl Hein on Arsenal, $17. Card just came out. Been going for between about 10 and 25, it looks like. He did have a couple starts for Estonia. 4 starts for Estonia, and then some for Reading over the past calendar year, or 52 weeks. Some starts for Reading, Estonia national team. So Karl Hein, 1.5 million valuation, been rising. Arsenal picked him up from I guess that's a Estonian team, and then Reading loaned him out last season, and I believe he played in the championship for them, not the Premier League. Let me just double check. And you can see he's at 18 national appearances for the Estonian national team, which I don't think they're in the Croatia level or Ukraine level of national team, but check on that on your own. Let's see here. So Arsenal's had him on the bench a few times. Looks like they might have started him in lesser trophies once or twice. Let me look at the year before. I just want to see where he played for Reading. I'm not going to go into. I have so many here. He played 5 times in the championship. Started for Reading. You can see there. Then had a little injury. Sometimes young players get banged up more too. A couple of these guys, I noticed that. So a promising one there, in my opinion. Mark Travers, another Premier League one on Bournemouth. I'm sorry, and let me just go back to Hein till June 2026. Travers, though, is already 23, so this is his last U23 season. So come this summer, he won't qualify. $16. Those just came out. He went down from 50 all the way to 15, 16 because of the Bournemouth goalkeeper situation. Also, Bournemouth in the table is looking likely to be relegated. However, the championship is in Sorare. So you may know more about the Bournemouth goalkeeper situation or do your own research, but I believe they started him and then they put somebody else in. But he did start quite a few games for them and some really good numbers. This was back in the championship, I believe, last season. So Mark Travers for 16. only 23 years old, still a U23 player. Valuation $2 million. They show a high of $2.5 million. He's had 3 caps for the Ireland national team. Uh, 31 goals in 11 games, not great, but it is Bournemouth. They picked him up from was that Shamrock Rovers maybe? Loaned him out, and they got him back. So their other goalie is Beto, I believe. Neto, I'm sorry, Neto, Brazilian they picked up. And if they get relegated, I'm thinking Neto will probably bail. I don't know what his contract is. And they might give the job back to Travers. Just a speculation. But that would be for next season anyway. Okay, next one. Ron Torben Hoffman. He's 23, but he stops being U23 at the end of the season. He's on Eintracht Braunschweig in Bundesliga 2. His price over the past month has been between 10 and 25. He's 15 right now. He started recently for them, had a couple starts back here last season or in the summer. So the Bundesliga 2, I have the tables in another, I closed the tables down. Sorry about that. Bundesliga 2 is in Sorare. And I wish it defaulted to the table on TransferMarkt. So Braunschweig is like lower mid-table. Sort of actually, all those teams are bunched up in a relegation fight. That would be something to watch. So let me see if I can find him. Torben Hoffman, 400,000 market value, was 600,000. He was called up to Germany U18, but that was it. His big thing, well, one of his things is like he was in the Leipzig system, then Bayern picked him up, and he was on their team when they won stuff. Then Sunderland took him on loan. He played for them, and then Bayern let him go to Braunschweig in Division 2, basically Germany's Division 2. And this reminds me of that other, the Italian guy, whereby they're kind of like, okay, he's probably like, I want to start somewhere, and they found him a starting job, something like along those lines. Or I want a team with an opportunity to play more, not start. Sorry, I apologize for that. So he is, even though he is in Division 2, he's not starting many games currently. And yeah, so that's that. Next one, Marcel Lotka on Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga. He's Polish, $15. There's 2 Borussia ones on this list. Part of that being just they're their backup. I think both their backups are young goalies, and Borussia's known for developing incredible talents. Of course, I don't know if they have a track record that much of goalies doing that. They may. So both of them have kind of high market values, which is why they popped up on this list. But between 15 and 25-30, he's $15 currently. Has started a game over the last year. Started for Hertha quite a bit last spring, and Hertha is still up in the Bundesliga, I believe. I think they're towards the bottom of the table. I have to double check. Actually, yeah. So he started quite a few games last season. Hasn't started this, but only 15. He's coming up until June 2025. He'll be U23. 1.3 million market cap. That's sort of like the Barca guy. It's like a Borussia effect, and the Arsenal guy to some degree. Came up with Essen, it looks like. Then Leverkusen picked him up. Then Hertha, and then went on a free to Dortmund. He's been playing. I don't know if that's the 3rd division this season. On the Poland, he's been playing. He's been getting called up to the U21s, all the way up to the U21s. Been playing for them. I believe there's another Borussia one on this list. Next one, Francisco Majedo on Porto. 21 years old, U23 until June 2025, $15. Past month, not many trades, basically between 10 and high close to 20. Does have one start over the past year for Porto, who of course tends to be the dominant team in the Portuguese league. 900,000 market value, so pretty compared to some of these others. I mean, he is on a good team. Porto does produce a lot of talent, and that's pretty high. Let me see if I can go to his profile real quick. I had 1 million. He was in the Portugal national team setups, but not so far in the U21 and 20s. But he is only 21. Again, he's been in the Porto system. He's been playing in a lower division there in Portugal. Does have an injury. Expected return February 28th, it says. Just want to look at this. Yeah, injury there. I think he might have been one of these guys who had several injuries. Let me just double check. Well, nonetheless, obviously a prospect type one, it looks like. Next one's Luca Ubenhauen. That's the other Borussia Dortmund goalie. He's only 13. He's a 21-year-old, U23 until 2025, German. Price been going between about 10 and 20. Hasn't played a game in the past year for Sorare. The other player had played multiple games for Union, and also 21. Let me see if I have Borussia Port. I have Mönchengladbach pulled up. Oh, here, Dortmund. So Dortmund has Kobel as their goalie, but according to this, and then Alexander Myers, 31. So he might be their primary backup, but then they have the two youth ones. But you're going to want to double check what the contract situation, what transfer expectations, loan expectations, type of thing. Of course, the transfer window did just end for the January one. So he, Ubenhauen. He's been called up on the German U20 squad, not the U21 yet, but he actually he's turning 22 this month. Came up with Bochum system, then went to Dortmund. He's been playing in the lower division as well. Next one, Joan Garcia, Juan Espanyol in La Liga, $13. He's 21 years old, will be U23 until 2025. Card is ranged, limited card between about 10 and 25-ish over the past month. Did get a game recent a year ago versus Levante. Again, I don't have the premium unlocked on SorareData right now. So he's 400,000 market cap or valuation, according to this, which has been rising basically. Again, pretty tall. He's been called up to the U21 Spain. Spain produces some great goalies, as we know. Played a couple times for that. He's been in the Espanyol youth setup the whole time. Played in the Copa del Rey this season, I believe. Let's see what that. Yeah, it looks like he played in the Copa del Rey, even in the round of 16. So they were using their, probably prospects or lesser played players in that. So you see him there, moving down in price again. Next one, Altuve on Albacete in La Liga. That's Division 2 Smart Bank. That's their second division, which is in Sorare. Spanish, $13 for the past month, range from about 8 to 17. Does have some games. A couple for Albacete. And then before that for Fuenlabrada. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Let me look that up. I just want to see where Albacete is also in the table. League Two. I think they're upper top. Yeah, they're close to playoff promotion territory, and that could be a boost as well. If he ended up playing, especially in and also just in general for the values, though, if they are in the highest division with the way it's set up right now. So I'm sorry, he's going to be till 2024 on the U23. Hasn't been called up to the Spain setup at all. Came up originally with Valladolid, that with Real. He had the Real imprint. Then he went to this Fuenlabrada. I think I'm not sure what that's a lower level, obviously. And then Albacete picked him up this past summer, and he did get a few starts with them. Again, whether it's because of injury or who knows, you have to do your own research on that. Some starts back there this season. Next one, so again, he was 13. Next one down is Tjark Ernst, $12 on Hertha in the Bundesliga. He's 19 years old. He's going to be U23 until 2027. Prices vary between about 10 and 18 over the past month. No games. I want to see where Hertha is. Like, my memory for all these different league position tables is. Yeah, so Hertha's looking not good. Schalke, Hertha, Stuttgart, and then some of these, they're not looking good right now. So they may be relegated to the second division, which is in Sorare. 400,000 valuation. Excuse me. He was getting called up since he was 15. I mean, in the German system, and he's only 19 now. He's tall. Went from Bochum to. They actually paid 300,000 for him. He's been playing in the regional Northeast, one of the lower divisions. Next one, Vincent Müller, about $9 on Duisburg in the third league of Germany. His card is only traded a couple times for $10 to $12 recently, hasn't played. U23 until June 2025. So his market cap is 500,000, which is why he popped up on here, which has been rising. He does have a shoulder injury, it says. He was in the Cologne system, and then Eindhoven bought him and then gave him a free to Duisburg, with whom he has been starting every game. Well, he has an injury currently, so you're going to want to research that. But he was starting all their games. Now they're in the third division. I believe that's the third division of German football. And I think they were near the top. Well, maybe they were mid-table. Yeah, they're actually mid-table, basically. So not looking imminent of a promotion to the second group. This, again, would be one where maybe he would get bought out by a bigger club because he's playing and he's proven himself. Possibly he's been called up, it looks like, to Germany U21, but hasn't played for them. 17 appearances, 16 goals conceded, 5 clean sheets. I mean, it looks like good numbers to me, but again, the level of competition in the lower divisions. Just one to keep an eye on, or for speculation. Next one down to $9, Johann Schenk on Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. He's been going for between about $10 and $20. He's 20 years old, will be U23 until 2027. Schenk is part of the situation with Gladbach and Bayern's goalkeeper situation that's going on, which potentially could give him an opportunity, potentially, with the fact of the goalkeeper injured and what's going on in the situation there. Not that Bayern is known to change goalies a lot or play young goalkeepers very often, but 300,000 value, been rising. He's been in the basically the Bayern system the whole time. Hasn't been called up to the German thing yet. I believe he's been playing in the lower divisions, including the UEFA Youth League. I believe his manager, one of these has a very powerful agent. Well, his agent has like Musiala, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Sometimes the agents they may boost this market cap, but on the other hand, they're also powerful agents can get their players where they want them to be. Of course, he's only 20 years old, just turned 20. And with Bayern's goalkeeper situation, so Neuer's hurt, and they're having political issues with him and his camp. They bought Jan Sommer from Gladbach, who's actually not doing that great, it seems to me so far. And Sven Ulreich's cards are actually cheap. Whether Bayern would bench, Jan Sommer and try Ulreich is a question. But then Schenk is the next one there. And now who of these guys will be back next season is not certain. Of course, you would think Bayern would probably end up with 2 veteran goalkeepers. I think they usually do that, as far as I know. But that's Schenk. And then the last one of the cheapest that I saw that came up with was Isaac Boehmer on MLS. Now, I don't have a lot of MLS stuff on here. I am in America. I don't follow it as close, especially considering it's so rare. I wish I did, and as well also with the Mexican League and some others, because that is coming up, getting ready to start very soon. But he's $9 on Vancouver Whitecaps. He's going to be U23 until 2026. He's Canadian. His cards have gone between basically 7 and 15. He does have a few games in. He played for Vancouver last season. And so Vancouver's goalie situation, their other goalies reasonable too. They're only showing these 3 goalkeepers currently. Thomas Hazel. I'm sorry if this text I just realized this text might be a little small, but Isaac Boehmer and Anchor, 23 years old, 21, 18. Hazel's not even that much on. He's 42. But finding a U23 goalkeeper is going to start for under 50, depending on who's starting there, for certain, is cheap relatively. Because finding a big 4 league, big 5 league goalkeeper under $50 who's starting is very difficult. So Boehmer is 21, again, Canadian. Hasn't been called up to the Canadian team as far, according to this, 400,000 market cap, which has been rising. Looks like they loaned him out a couple times. He's been playing in MLS Next Pro and some various things. I did have a few MLS starts. So again, the goalkeeper situation though on Vancouver's unknown. All right, so that's 20 goalies. Sorry if the video was long. 20 young goalkeepers for you can look at and consider. And let me know if there's any of these you like in particular, if there's other names you want to tip for boosting your Sorare team or U23 team, maybe finding a gem who will be worth a lot 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. But also looking for ones who might get playing time now. That's what I'm looking for. All right, thanks. And again, use my referral code. Please subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoy my videos. All right, thanks. Have a good one.